popping. We'll get it popping. All right, what is up, all of our beautiful, lovely people? We are live and
You want me to do
direct.
the intro?
Yeah, we're gonna redo it all in a second here, man. I'm gonna send this link out to the peoples, making sure y'all understand how it goes. Yeah, let me get all my stuff together. We had some good old technical difficulties, but
Yeah.
we're working through it. We're working through it. We lost one of our dear friends because her break was over. She had to go back to work, but she'll catch it later. She'll catch this later, so it'll be all good. It'll be all good. Um, but we gonna see, man. We gonna get it rocking and rolling again with you. We may say the same stuff that we said before. We we don't know. We don't know. We don't know. But hopefully everything is working here, and we can get on through this episode and get into our what is it, Memorial Day weekend, whatever weekend
No,
situation we got
Labor
going.
Day.
Labor Day,
It's
Labor
Labor
Day
Day.
weekend. Shoot, see, I don't know. I don't be knowing. I don't be knowing. But we're
Yeah.
gonna work it out. We're gonna work it out. We're gonna work it out. All right, y'all. Um, we are here to get it popping. Get it popping for you. Okay. Um, let's go ahead and get this thing rolling. We are currently fighting principalities and struggles that the devil is putting in our way, but we're gonna press through. Hopefully, um, yeah, we'll see. We'll see if it happens. If this one doesn't work out, y'all, we will see you on Tuesday. All right, but we're gonna try to make this work out today. And hopefully everything will be straight, will be squared away, and everything will be all good.
Right.
But yeah. We do have something very important to talk to you about, which is why we want to make sure it can get through because we had a whole stream before, and if I haven't deleted it yet, you can see that train wreck of a technical thing. If so, then hopefully I'll delete it. I'll be responsible and have deleted it. You'll never see it again. All
Oh
right.
wow. Yeah.
Yeah, but we had some great anatomy lessons on there and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's why you gotta have like early access. You can get all those jewels. Um, but yeah, so we but we're just gonna start fresh and do something new. We always start out with a check-in. Guess I gave you kind of what our check-in is looking like right now, but it's been a busy week and this technical difficulties that is right on brand with how the week's it's been going. But
Yeah.
yeah. But we're good.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah.
By the way, have a name. My name is Don Dees, and I'm with my lovely co-host, my sister here.
Sierra Monique. I'm
Yes,
outside on
indeed.
location.
Outside on location today. That's right.
I'm outside on
Um,
location today.
That's nice. That's nice, man. Get to see some of the beautiful Virginia sun, and
Yeah.
yeah, you can't go wrong with that. Um, please subscribe, guys.
Yeah.
Please
Subscribe.
build us up
Yeah.
because you see we need the money. Um, we try, look, man, we just trying to do the Lord's work out here. We
Yes.
and we got to get y'all's help, man. We got to spread this good word. We got these great personalities. We don't want them to go to waste. We need you
Right.
to help us spread it, right? Like the butter on your bread, spread. That's what we need. You feel me? You feel me?
Mhm.
So yeah, we're on. Where are we on? Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Anchor, right here
Mhm.
on YouTube.
Right here
You
on
know,
YouTube.
we want y'all to jump on here, and then you can see us and hear us.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it's gonna be great. I have a theory on this. I think that StreamYard, which is the brand that we're using, you see it over there in the corner. I
Yes.
think they want us to get the professional version, and so they're making sure that this version is not as good as it can be because they're like, we ain't gonna really help you until you serious about committing to us.
Right. But we need
And
y'all to like, share, and subscribe so we can boost up our views and then we can get the extra money so that we can go ahead and get that professional stream, y'all. How about
yes,
that?
you dig. It's
Shoot.
all of us. It's a joint effort,
It's a whole
people.
thing, you know?
Yeah, exactly, man. Um, but speaking of commitment, that's what we talking about
That's
today.
what we're talking about today.
And
Yep,
it
absolutely.
is it is interesting. Last week we talked about relationship reality from the men's responsibility
Right.
perspective, and
Mm-hmm.
today we diving into the women because as Tira had said last week, it's not 50-50, it's 100-100. And so we're going to look at the 100 from the woman's perspective.
Right.
um, I thought it was really interesting just when initially looking for material that covered this.
Right.
The majority of it was men talking. I'm like, ah, this is the
Right.
patriarchy at its finest, and it's always those videos of like the most sketchiest looking dude. It's like the most stern Nigerian pastor, and he's like, he's in this camera like, and you're like, ah, man, this is I don't that already looks like the video I don't want to see. I was like,
Right.
I want to find the video with the women talking to each other, but they are
Mm-hmm.
sharing the main perspective on this thing. And I did find some of those videos. There's an interesting variety of stuff that's out there, man. So, as we are as we're as we're diving in,
Right.
I'm very interested to see your perspective on this because I think the videos that we looked at for today, there
Mm-hmm.
was a balance of like kind of general popular culture,
Right.
some more extreme like I maybe I don't know maybe, and then
Right.
there was some that was kind of more deeply spiritually focused. And I
Mm-hmm.
think there's a good balance that we can find through those, but we'll see how the conversation goes today.
Right.
Yeah. So to start out with though, um, we look at, I guess they have, I don't know if they have their own podcast. It's called Couch
They do.
Conversations. I don't know if they do. Okay.
They do, but
Could
it's not this one.
It's
This
not this
the
one. They have their
Yeah,
own.
yeah. They have their own. It's called Dead Ass. So
Oh,
yeah.
okay. There we go.
Hmm.
There we go. There we go. That was a whole plot to get her to say dead ass,
Yeah,
everybody.
right.
No. No, it's Kadeen and DeVale Ellis.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and they I love their presentation. It's real laid back, conversational, friendly approach to it. And they had one of my favorite couples, the on stages,
The on stages.
Kev on stage and Miss Kev on stage. That's Kevin and Melissa Fredericks. And they had
Hmm.
another couple that I don't really know, but
Yeah.
I might have to go and find
I
them
don't
and
think
look them up
they.
real
I don't
quick.
think they were. I'm not gonna say somebody. I don't think they were anybody in social media world for that particular at that particular time.
Yeah.
Because the video that we watched called Couch Conversations was
Mhm. No, we don't, Sean. We
no.
Christians, bruh.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie, Sean. I do. I do. It's just not as much as your show, but I do.
Yeah, Sean's show.
Sean's show is X-rated.
We
I do say the S word here and there when I hit my toe or if I do something and it does come out, but I'm not a habitual cursor,
I'm a,
if that
I'm a,
is.
I'm a cuss along cusser. Like if I'm listening to music in my car and it's in there, you know, that's when it
A
go.
cuss
That
along
when
cusser? Oh my
it,
gosh.
yeah. In the car by myself, where it doesn't mess with no one's faith walk and journey. Yeah. But
Yeah, but
now
we're
it
not
will.
over here.
Now
Yeah.
everybody will know. Now everybody will know.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
not over here preaching perfection at all.
Absolutely.
Christians
Absolutely.
do curse.
They
Let's
be
go ahead and
cussing.
be that now.
Christians be
Yeah.
cussing.
Christians be cussing.
We be doing it. Well, I try not to. Mostly I don't though. Mostly I don't. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so getting back to the subject, it's gotten thrown us all off. So this conversation, I guess you said it was part of a series that
Yeah, by
runs.
Black Love.
And they
Yeah.
were talking about gender roles.
hmm
They it was a shorter conversation, but there was a couple things that I thought was pretty interesting in it. One of them was they were pointing out how Kev said through the years he discovered that most of what he thought about gender roles, like his perspective on gender roles and things, what
Right.
happens in the relationship, especially the marriage, were passed down from previous generations. It wasn't necessarily something that he came to on his own. So the question I wanted to start off with you is, did you find that to be true in your upbringing as well? Or when you got married, did you feel like, oh no, we were both at a place where we don't really have these expectations, we're just going free flow and kind of build it on our own?
Yeah, so growing up, I mean, I didn't see a lot of personal, as far as, I didn't see a lot of marriages, I can say, right in front of me. I did see a lot of marriages on TV, and I saw people in the church, and I did see like my aunt, uncle, I saw their marriage. And so those marriages were typically like the wife stays at home, she takes care of the home, she takes care of the kids, and the husband, he is out working and providing for the family. So I did take in that to be like, okay, well, when I get married, I just want to stay at home and take care of the kids and take care of the home, and also be supportive of my husband as well, and he go and provide. So that's what happened when I got married. That was a conversation that we had. Now, it did change. It changed after a while, but going into it, I was influenced by what I saw, not only on TV and the movies, but also what I saw, a little bit of sprinkle of marriages that I saw in front of me. It wasn't a lot of the opposite. And then, I mean, my mom, she was a single mom, so she worked a lot. So I also saw that. So I did see how a woman could go out and provide for the house, but not because she wanted to. I saw it as if she had to, So I do think,
the role wasn't there.
Yeah, because the other role wasn't there. So I did see that gender roles can be passed down based on what you see in front of you or on TV or even at church, what's been told to you as far as like as the household, the woman is the weaker vessel. And so she does everything at home and he goes out and takes care of it. So I do think it is passed down. I do think we tend to stick in those types of thinking based on what we saw growing up.
Would you say that there are any ideas or concepts that you would want to pass down to your kids?
I mean, even though the traditional roles are not really traditional anymore, as we continue to go on, I do still think that the wife makes the home. I do still think that. I do still think that there is something that God has deposited inside us as women, that we know how to make a house a home. Not to say there aren't men who don't have any kind of artistic or interior or whatever. Outside of interior design and all that, we do know how to make a house a home and how to run it. It's not just you're sitting at home doing nothing. You are actually the CEO of the house in a sense. You are running the house. You are making sure that everything flows. Everything has to be organized so that everything can get done. and there's no issues. I'm getting hit by the pine needles. So, I do think that, I mean, I would like for my daughter to know that, and my husband, not my husband, I mean, and my son to know that as a husband, that, you know, your wife is someone who's going to make the house a home. And I do still feel like the husband should do most of, and this is just how I grew up and how it's still in me. I do still think the husband still is supposed to make sure that there is a home. You know, I do still think that that should be on him to make sure that he does make sure that they have a home. Not to say that a wife cannot be the person who brings home the bacon, but I think that men need to have a purpose. You know, and if they're just sitting at home not doing anything, what kind of purpose do they have? Now, if there's a switch, now I will tell my children that it doesn't have to be that way, and that their relationship can be based on how they want their relationship to be. So if the husband is at home taking care of the kids, that's fine. If that's what y'all worked out, you know, if you're out and you're running things and you have a great career, and it's better for him to be at home and take care of the kids, and he may be able to take care of the kids and still do his own stuff, you know, shoot, on YouTube or whatever, in IT or something at home. But I do still think that the husband is supposed to make sure he provides the home, and that he is the leader of the home, and that everything basically starts with him. It doesn't end with him, but it starts with him. And then he then also leans towards his wife for advice and for, you know, as a sounding board, but not as someone who is dictating everything that goes on in the house. I do still think that he's supposed to be the leader, because God says that the husband is supposed to submit to God. And as the husband submits to God, that's how the wife submits to the husband. So I think that there is an order of how things should be. But I know that people are going to disagree with me, but that's just how I think and feel for me. Yeah.
No, I get it. We're gonna get into more of that discussion too. The other point that I thought was really good from that Couch Conversations video, it was this idea about ego and gender roles. So Melissa was talking about how she said because I guess there was the point in the situation in their story where Kevin got fired. And so his wife was the one who was out working, bringing home the bacon, you know, and he was doing the stay-at-home thing. And they were talking about how, you know, as a man, largely because of society and how things have been passed down, you know, you just have that feeling of like, oh my gosh, man, I'm not making money, I'm not doing this. And so she said, I made sure not to challenge his ego. And they kind of like over the course of the conversation, they kind of came to a consensus that one of the roles of the ladies was to sort of hide their truth, to be supportive of their man, or like to care for his ego. What's your perspective on that? If you was in that situation, would you be like, man, you better get up and da 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 da, or would you be more like, man, let me protect this guy's ego?
First, I want to say you just went black and white. I don't know why. What happened? White? Can you see it?
No, I don't know if it's just me. Color to me.
Oh, never mind. It was my.
Oh, okay.
It was my phone.
I'm still in color as far as I know.
It was my phone. I'm sorry. It looked really cool. But I was like, what happened? Okay, anyway. So I remember that. I remember that she said that she made sure not to break him down. I think that's important. I do think that's a very important role as a wife, to always make sure that her husband feels valued and appreciated and honored. And even though he may not be out working right now at the time, you don't like you always hear this phrase, you know, you don't kick a person when they're down, you know. And for him in that conversation, he did express that, he wanted to work, he just didn't want to work in the way that traditionally it was thought out that they were going to be as far as in their marriage. So, like, he wanted to pursue his dreams in the entertainment business and not on a 9-to-5, whereas she was content with the 9-to-5 at the time. So I think it's very important for a wife to make sure that she is always encouraging her husband, especially in difficult times like that, because you just never know. Because even though, like I said before, even though my vision of my household, how I like it to be, is that way, life happens. And so it's like, what are you going to do when your plan is derailed, when what you had in your head changes? Are you going to pout and become naggy and demeaning and make him feel bad? Or are you going to say, you know what, it's okay, baby. We're going to get through this. Let's go ahead and sit down and let's make another plan. The plan that we thought we had, let's sit down and make another plan and see how we're going to go from here. Because sometimes it happens. We all saw this in the pandemic. There's a lot of people who lost their jobs, and it wasn't all women. So if the wife still had her job, like in my instance, I mean, I don't have a husband right now, but if my husband had lost his job, I was still good because I work in the healthcare industry and I work from home. So I didn't lose my job. People are always going to the hospital. People are always needing to see the doctor. So thank God I didn't lose my job. And if I had a husband, which I will one day, we would still have been good, So I think it's very important that you always, because I think that if you make sure that he's good mentally, then I think he will make sure that you're good emotionally. So if you make sure that if he's good mentally, then he's going to make sure you're good emotionally, because then you're meeting each other's need without demeaning each other, without making someone feel less,
Right.
So I think that was very important. I commend her for doing that, because depending on how you're raised, some women will talk bad about their husband and go, well, when you gonna get a job? Why are you still sitting here? You supposed to be a man. When you gonna do this? When you gonna do that? Instead of speaking to where he was and knowing that he needed you more to be supportive of his situation and understand and be empathetic, and knowing that he wants to provide, but at this time he cannot. So we have to be like we talked about last week, and go back and listen to it. We have to not be a fan of our husband. We have to be our forever. We have to take on the position of the forever role, which is to be there for our husbands in the ups and in the downs, when there's victories and when there's defeats. Not only when there's victories, like we said last week, a fan will be there for the victory. They're not there for the defeat. So we don't want to be fans. We want to be forevers. We want to be a forever role and a key role in our husbands' lives. So I totally agree, and I like what she did and what she said.
Yeah, that was, and I mean, I liked it too. At the same time, I feel sad that men are like that. Like, dang, why we got to be like that, man? Why we can't just, and I'm sure every man is not like that. Like, for me, as I kind of think about myself, and this may be more of a personality thing. When somebody tells me something about me, good or bad, I kind of register it as information. Like, I try not to let it really go to my head, whether it's good or bad. So if somebody's like, man, you're terrible at this, instead of me being like, well, you're probably bad at stuff too, I'm more like, okay, I wonder why you think that, and da 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 da, or maybe you're right, and yeah, I can fix that, or but I'm sure there are probably areas in my life that I'm not even aware of. If somebody were to say something, I'd be like,
right,
Lord,
right.
So yeah, I appreciate that. I wish we didn't need that, but I'm glad that God has helped y'all to be wiser and help us out when we did. Now I want to go to another video. Pastor Mildred Kingsley Okonkwo
I was trying to pronounce that last name. I mean, I was trying to get it, but I know she's Nigerian. And I was like, I don't want to.
This was my first introduction to her.
I have never seen her before. I've never heard before, but I know after watching that video, I subscribed to her channel. Do you hear me? I was like, I'm here for everything. I'm here for most of the things that she had said in that video. Because I was like, okay, yeah.
I gotta tell you, I'm surprised, but maybe but let's talk about maybe why I was surprised, but we'll do that after. Let's
okay.
Not yeah, we'll get to it.
Okay.
So her name, she goes by the name of Pastor M, and I guess she does these mentoring sessions.
Right.
And this was interesting to hear. What I did love about this though is it was a woman talking straight to women. And that was one of the things that I was really looking for. The video, man, if you're not the right person, it'll already throw you off right out the gate. 7 mistakes women make.
Mm-hmm.
Part 1. We only got through 4 mistakes in this video. So you got to go out there and check out part 2.
Did you watch both?
You know what? I did because so on the video, she's like,
pause. She said, pause.
She said, pause me and go do what I just said, and then and come back. And so I had to see if the video started, with the part 2. I was like, did it start with the pause?
Right
and
there.
It did. She came right back. I was like, woo, she is very thorough. Okay. So it was funny. All right. So all I'm gonna just read what she said, and then you go on it. Okay. The first thing, so even before she kind of started listing off, she did say one thing that I thought was kind of interesting. She says her goal was to help women be the women who have decided to partner with God to make one man's life special. What's your thoughts on this?
I thought that was a great mission statement. Okay. You hear me? I was like, I never heard that before. And I was like, that is what drew me in. When she said, I was like, okay, I'm here to hear what you got to say. Okay. Because I was like, okay, I'm here to hear what you have to say. Because I was like, okay, because that's so true. We partner with God to make another person have a better life. You know, it's like we're here to help each other. But as wives, we're supposed to be the help me. If you desire to be a wife, I want to go into this. If you're watching this or listening to this, if you desire to be a wife, this is good for you to hear. If you don't desire to be a wife, please don't come for us saying a women should do this or any kind of feminist spirit. We're not for that. We're talking about people who desire to be wives. And I would say, keep listening, because maybe one day, right now, you don't desire to be a wife, but you meet that man he doesn't change your mind with his words, but with his actions. And you're like, I thought I didn't want to be a wife, but now I do. So these are still good, whether you're married or whether you're single, whether you desire, whether you don't. These are still some really good stuff. It's still really good stuff. So yeah.
Okay. So here's the first one.
Yeah.
Here's the first mistake: thinking that you are the project. She says you were one of his projects.
Yep.
Men are project driven.
Yeah.
Now that you're married, you are to join him in achieving the next projects.
Yes.
Thoughts?
I was like, wait, what? Because at first, now I'm gonna tell you this, she had got me with the personal mission statement. Okay, I understood that. Then when she said, she said, thinking you are a project. I said, okay, what's she talking about? So I wrote down notes. I wrote down a lot of notes. So when she said, the phrase that a lot of people go by, do what you do, continue to do what you were doing when, while you were dating. They're supposed to continue to do that. And she said that she didn't agree with it. And I was like, wait, what? But then she kept going on, and she says that you say he already has you, and now you have to team up with him to continue to progress in his journey in his life. So she said that he's already achieved the project which is you, and now he must move on to the next project, She said, you are to join him in the other project and you are to stay in his face. Meaning you have to make sure that he knows that you are here for what he is here for, basically. And then to continue the project. Now, I agree to a point. I think that you are supposed to team up with your husband to continue the next project. Because like she said, he has to provide a home. He has to continue to take care of the house. I mean, the family. There's a vision that he has outside of just being your husband. So that's key, because we are two individuals coming together as one for a purpose. And we have to remember that as individuals, we have a purpose. And as a married couple, we have a purpose. So I got that. What I kind of did not agree with was what she said, that you should not expect your husband to continue to do what he did when he was dating you. And she said that women will complain to her and say, oh, well, he's not doing this anymore. He's not doing this anymore. And she tells the women that he's not supposed to do that anymore because he's already obtained you. He already has you. So now he needs to go to the next thing. I disagree with that. I do continually agree with the fact that, with the notion that what you did to get the person is what you have to continue to do. Now, it may not be in an extreme way, but you're supposed to continue to appreciate, adore, honor, respect, date your spouse. I think you're supposed to continue to keep doing those things. I think both. Whatever you did to get them is what you need to continue to keep doing, so that the relationship continues to flourish and continues to be a success. Because I'm gonna come back to this, because she kind of contradicted herself later on with something that she said about women. Now. So, but I don't agree with her in that. I do agree, like I said, I do agree that you should team up with your husband and push him and motivate him to continue the vision of the house and the vision of the marriage. Team up together to do that and stay in his face. Meaning let him know or show him that you are for him and that it's not all about you. So I agree with that it's not all about you. Once you get married, it's not all about him pleasing you. It's about you all pleasing each other. And in that way, you're pleasing God. But what do you think?
Yeah. I gotta tell you. So, well, I'll say more about this later.
Okay.
But what I'll say now is the same thing that I kind of had to say starting out last week, which is I am a product of my environment, which is a landscape of equality and not necessarily so focused on the man. I'm thinking more. So that's just my mindset. I'm trying to still be open and process how they say things, but coming from it from that perspective, when I hear stuff like you were one of the projects and now that project is accomplished, so now help him on the rest of his projects. Now, obviously, she goes into a little bit more in depth, but when I hear that, when I kind of see the whole relationship thing as like a project, that kind of, I had to take that with a grain of sand and be like, okay, well, maybe I would articulate it differently. Maybe I would say pursuit versus a project. You were one of the you were his major pursuit at the time, because you hadn't made your full-on connection, but once you make the connection, you're not now just a part of his collection of stuff, or like Augustine said, the project is ongoing.
Exactly. It's an ongoing, never-ending project.
But it's a never-ending it's a never-ending pursuit. We want to continue to pursue each other. I think that's part of having our healthy God-given desire for each other in a relationship. So it's both those things. Like she says, yeah, both partners in new areas, but still taking care of each other. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like it's this balance. It's like trying to make this balance between, equality and the dynamics of how that plays out in the relationship.
Right. Because a project is something that you have to fix, or something
Right,
that you
right,
have to
right.
something that you have to accomplish. So you're
Yeah.
never you never accomplish your spouse, because like you said, it's an ongoing thing. You're constantly going to be learning each other. So there's never an end until death do you part. There's
Yeah,
never
right.
an end.
Right,
There's
right.
an ongoing learning of each other and understanding each other and loving each other all the time.
It
All
keeps
the time.
going.
It's
It's
all the
like it's
time.
like it's like Bad Boy. I thought I told you that we don't stop. We keep it going. Okay, let's go to the next one.
Okay.
Now, yeah, what you think about this? So this one, her next mistake, she says, is that these women are supporting the wrong decision. So
Yeah.
support his correct decision and correct his wrong decision. What you encourage and enable will one day fall on you. Then she says, be respectful and prayerful, but always speak up for the truth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree. Because I think that, see, the way, I wouldn't just say society, but in the church has told women is that once you get married and once you submit, then that means submission means that you do whatever your husband says and you go along with whatever he does. And that's not how it's supposed to be. Because I was trying to be like that for a little bit, and then when I started opening my mouth, there's a right.
I can't hold it anymore.
Right. There's a right and a wrong way to let your husband know that the decision that he is making or trying to make is not going to be good for him and it's not going to be good for us. So I agree with her with that. As far as I wrote down, she said, tell him the truth and be the voice of reason. And that stems from the whole purpose of you are his helpmeet. So you're supposed to help him meet the things of your marriage and of your life. You're supposed to help him make the right decisions. And husbands should be leaning into their wife, because this is my thing. You just made the most important decision of your life. And and that's getting married. So why wouldn't you not trust the voice of someone that you commit to for the rest of your life? What is the whole purpose of marrying somebody if you're only going to dictate to them what to do, and if they're only going to be there just for your pleasure only? That's not how it works.
Right.
So it is very important for the wife to be able to tell her husband, I wouldn't say suggest to her husband and let him know, hey, you know what do you think about this? Have you thought about this? Or have you thought about that? Because sometimes if you come to him and you're like, I don't think this is right, this is a dumb idea, he's gonna shut down and he's not gonna hear nothing that you say. It's done. So I'm stupid now. But you're the way,
idiot.
Right. So it's the way that you say it. I know in the Bible it says that a nagging wife is like a dripping faucet. So you don't want to be a dripping faucet in his ear telling him what he should and should not do. You want to be the honey that he needs to go down his throat so he can swallow good.
Come on now.
You want to be that. You want to be able to come to him in a sweet way and just say, honey, have you thought about this? Have you thought about this outcome? And so that he can see that, oh, okay, because let me, and I'm pretty sure you will agree with this as a man. Men like to make the decisions. And they like to be the one to make the decisions. They don't want it. It's one thing where it's like, oh, my wife did it. And I just say that you're not happy that your wife made decisions, but it feels good to a man to go, I made this decision, and the decision I made was a great investment, was a great return on investment, was a great outcome, and I did this, and look at me. It's something that feeds the ego. So why not feed his ego by suggesting to him, hey, have you thought about this? Or I noticed that you were thinking about this, or I heard you talking about this, but yeah, so
As
I
Tim
I
Ross
agree
says,
with her.
let me submit this to you.
Let me
Let me
submit
submit
this
this
to
to
you.
you for reflection.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, yeah, because
Yeah,
then
that's good.
you'll become like the woman on Coming to America. Whatever you like, whatever,
Right. You still standing up there on one foot, hopping and barking.
waiting for him to tell you to go sit down. No,
Right.
you don't want to be that kind of woman. You want to be the voice of reason in his life. Because if he can't trust your voice, then whose voice can he trust? Outside
Lord
of
of
God.
mercy.
So
Lord
yeah.
of mercy. Yes. Okay, another mistake.
Okay.
Familiarity. And I was
Yeah.
kind of like, okay, well, what does she mean by this? So the way she broke it down, she says, "You're the one that knows the man best, his ups, his
Hmm.
downs, um,
Right.
and sometimes because you know him so well,
Hmm.
you forget to honor him. You treat
Hmm.
him any old way,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Respect is one of those major things that a man needs. That's what that
Hmm.
for any man. She says
Right.
he wants to be the king of his castle. He wants to be venerated. She said venerated. I'll check. She definitely said venerated. If you treat him like a king, he will treat you like a queen. If you treat a
Exactly.
man with disrespect, your man will simply replace you. She gave this equivalent to uh the king of Persia at the time and
Hmm.
his wife Vashti. So if anybody knows the story of Queen Esther and how she became
Right.
queen, it was
Hmm.
because Vashti got put to the side. So she was saying he was she was saying that Vashti had disregarded her husband,
Yeah.
disrespected him, and so he put her to the side. And while your husband may not literally replace you,
Hmm.
he will find ways to do so emotionally, mentally, intellectually, all of those areas. So he'll
Yep.
stop talking to you about important things, start
Yep.
talking with other people, push you away.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on that whole familiarity thing?
I thought that was really good because I wrote next to it because I was a familiarity. I was like, huh? I wrote in becoming comfortable.
Mm,
So becoming comfortable like with someone. So like to the point of where like you disregard the value of a person in your life. And
mm,
so
mm.
sometimes when we get to know people, depending on how fast or slow you get committed to someone, you're not gonna see everything, you
Right,
know, in a little I mean, even if you're dating somebody for 5 years, you still have not seen everything.
right.
So I think as you're learning someone and you're living with someone, you're getting to know someone, and then you see like, oh, you do that, or oh, you do this, and then you see how they are, and you get really comfortable with them, and you go, oh, well, I know how you are for real behind closed doors, so I'm not even gonna honor you
Mercy,
as my husband. I'm gonna treat
mercy.
you like everybody else, or I think that also falls into like arguments and stuff, like becoming comfortable. So like you start resenting each other,
Mm,
or not speaking up, things unspoken issues.
start bringing out
And
all the dirty laundry.
right. And so sometimes if you're not saying anything, then you can start demeaning your spouse. So yeah, I took it as that, becoming really comfortable with someone to the point
Mm,
where you forget the value of them in the relationship, and you
mm,
forget I think in that instance too, you stop feeling the way you felt when you first fell in love, or started loving
mm,
that person, and you know all that you had for them in the beginning that made you say I do to that person. You get to the point where you forget why. You forget the why of why you married that person and why you wanted to be with that person for the rest of your life. So you get so comfortable with that. And so
mm.
you don't ever want to be in that space. Because like you said, she said, as soon as a man feels like he's not valued or he's disrespected, he will replace you in a different way. He may not divorce you, but somebody else is going to be his listening ear. Somebody else is going to be his
Oof,
shoulder that he cries on. Somebody else is
oof.
going to be that person, his confidant. And you don't want that to happen.
And you know what I'll say to that? I want to add this too, because a lot of times people want to make this argument that men are rational, women are emotional, and
Right.
so emotional cheating is like this thing that's more um, on the women's side.
Right.
I mean, maybe, but both men and women operate heavy on emotions.
Right. They do.
It's embodied differently, but I think
Mm-hmm.
they both operate heavy on emotions. I tell you,
Yeah.
man, I remember I could tell you a specific situation when I was in college. I was dating a girl, and I went to visit her. We were both missionaries, and we were out at our various spots. And I remember I went to visit her where she was,
Mm-hmm.
and when I was there, one of my good friends from high school was also at that same mission field. And
Oh, okay.
so that was a friend that I hadn't seen for a long time. It was another girl, so I was like, oh, what's up? Da, 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 da. And I remember there was a time during that trip where I was extremely frustrated. And I had a much better conversation with my friend than I did
Mm-hmm.
with my then girlfriend.
Right.
And I thought about that later, and I was like, man, you know, I think the girl was probably, she was probably mad about that, and I can
Mm-hmm.
understand.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the reason that it happened is because the way our relationship was going, I didn't feel like I could actually have the conversation I needed to have with the girl
Right.
that I was dating. With my
Right.
friend, it just naturally came. And
Right.
I greatly appreciated, the fact that that was there.
Right.
That was a dating situation, so it's kind of like, maybe that was early on. I was young, you could work through that. But if you get to the point where it's not a girlfriend, but it's a wife,
Right.
and then you feel like you got a friend who you feel more natural, and that happens,
Right.
yeah, that's not good.
Right.
So,
Right.
but I say that to say, yeah, there are parts of men that are heavily emotional, and when those things get fed, it means just as much to them as it does to the women. So yeah,
Right.
that was.
Yeah, that's just like why. That's why sometimes you'll see women who say, or women will say, well, I don't understand why he would cheat on me with someone who's not as pretty as I am, or who's not,
Mm,
or who don't have like a Fashion Nova body or whatever. And then
hmm.
go, it had nothing to do with her looks, but it had everything to do with how she made him feel. And if
Wow.
you make a man feel less than and disrespected, it don't matter how much body yada yada you got. It don't matter.
Hmm.
That don't matter. He will go to somebody who don't look nothing like you. Nothing.
Wow.
Nothing at all, because she created a space for him to be himself and to be vulnerable, and for him to, and she respected him and honored him. She appreciated him. And that's
Hmm.
why I said that's one thing you don't ever want to get to a point where you let the potential woman have the up on you, to have the
Mm.
opportunity to even ease her way in at all.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. And
which
it
goes to our next one.
and men, if you're smart, and you and there's a smart woman who is trying to prey on you, and you see her opening up that space, you'd be like, no,
No,
no, we get out, get out,
not
get out,
not
brother,
today, Delilah.
run away, run away. That's what happened on Insecure with Lawrence and that banker in
Yep,
season 1. You
yep,
feel me?
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
That's what
That's a prime
the
example we were
banker.
talking about. That's a prime example we were talking about as far as the gender roles, and dating as well. Even though we're talking about marriage, they were
Hmm.
dating in a relationship and living together, and he lost his
Oh,
job,
oh
and he
yeah,
didn't have a job, and she was
oh
going
yeah.
to work and coming home, and he was like just sitting around, and she was like, "Oh, this all you gonna do?"
Right, right, right.
So yeah.
I remember a friend who, I mean, there was probably more to it, but I do remember a friend that was married, and the husband was like just at home, just doing nothing, and she was like, I'm out, bro, I can't deal with this. That's
Right.
another subject for
That's
another
another
time,
subject. Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it happens.
Yeah. Let's go. We
Now
got three more.
let's go
Yeah.
to this
Yeah.
last this last one. This was hilarious to me. Now there's one Kevin Samuels video that I watched that I did agree with, and
Mhm.
it was coming more from his background as a style consultant, I guess, or a lifestyle consultant.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about the same thing that she said, he was saying to men. And I was like, yeah, you're right, Kev.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. But this was her, but I like the way she said it. She says, not taking care of yourself.
Yep.
She said, take care of your looks. Men, now I don't know about this being the reason. I mean, maybe it is. I'm sad for this, but if it's true, it's true, I guess. Men are into packaging. That's what she said. Men are into packaging. They are moved by what they see.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man.
Yep.
Thoughts. Yeah. Thoughts. She went
I
off.
agree. Yeah, she did. She went off.
Kim Burrelled him almost.
She went off. She said that men are not God. She said God looks at the heart, not man. So you can't be she said you cannot be expecting your man, your husband, to be thinking the way God thinks. He does not. He does not look at the heart. He looks at the outer package. I keep getting nostalgic about these funny. Right. He said men look at the outside packaging. And it's true. We hear this all the time that men are visual creatures. They get excited about what they see. If you don't understand that, look at the men who go and buy cars. It's all about how the car looks. You know, if a man who's really into cars, he's looking at it. It could be, you probably think, oh, a car is a car. No, he's looking at the body work. He's looking at how it was designed. It does something to them as far as how it looks. I mean, so men are visual creatures. They want it. They see first, and then they think. And we know this because we see it all the time in the media. How do they get men to go and buy stuff? They put a sexy woman on top of a car. They put a sexy woman walking around the boxing rink with no clothes on, holding a number sign for the rounds. They put what's her name? Not Megan Good, but the other Megan, the one that was in Transformers. They put her,
yeah. Megan.
The rallies of Charles Jr. commercial biting a burger. I mean, sex sells, and what Megan Fox. Fox. So men are visual creatures, and that right there is why I said that was the contradiction I was talking about, because she said that we should not expect our husbands to do for us the way they did to get us once we get married. But she's saying to women that they are supposed to keep their bodies up the way they were when they got married. And I was like, wait a minute, that's a contradiction there. Now she didn't say exactly the way, but if I am in expectation of my husband still pursuing me as he did when we were dating, then it's okay then for the husband to be of expectation of his wife to keep her body up. Now, I will say this. If you let your body go, husbands, you shouldn't be saying nothing. You should not be saying anything, because you always see, you always see like, it's like it's a double standard that a man can let himself go, bare belly, just out of shape,
terrible.
But the woman, the wife, has to be this trophy Coke bottle all the time, even after having kids. And it's like, wait a minute, that's not how it works. And then sometimes you'll see. They'll go, well, this person had 3 kids and their body snapped back. How come yours didn't? Because we're 2 different people coming from 2 different DNA. We got 2 different DNA. My family don't snap back like her family snap back. After we have kids, we get plump. But in doing so, I think that is something that you both should be doing together. So if it is our goal for us to both still be physically attracted to each other, then we need to both work on it together. Let's go walking together. Let's go on a hike together. Let's go to the gym together. Let's do things around the house together. Let's go dancing together. So I do think it's important for you not to let yourself go, not to be going, hey baby, not to go to the grocery store with bonnets and pants that say juicy with juicy on the back. I 100% agree with Monique. I'm not for it, but I think you should always look the part. That's how I say. I'm just saying. So you should make sure you keep yourself up, because she said one good thing that I thought was important. She says, "Don't make it easy for him not to cheat on you." No, she said make it easy. She said make it easy for him not to cheat on you, and that is keeping yourself up. Don't, and that's also in the same realm of becoming comfortable, because you can become comfortable to a point where you stop taking care of yourself. So you do want to make sure you keep your hair and your nails and your feet and everything looking good. It doesn't mean you have to go out and spend a whole bunch of money, but you do want to make sure that your husband is proud to carry you somewhere, to take you to the lunch or whatever. Yeah. So yeah. I agree. But man, y'all better make sure y'all taking care of yourselves too. I'm going to say that too.
Yeah. You know what? Let's do this. Because we have one other section to talk about on this, but it's kind of heavy.
Okay.
I feel like we should do it as a part 2, because I don't want to rush through it, and it's really good. Okay. So let's cut this one for now, and then next week we're gonna do part 2, because it's pretty heavy and it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So we gonna cut it there right now. Ladies are gonna take care of themselves, but men, don't be slipping as well. And and we're gonna come back next week, and we're gonna talk about basically the same type of stuff, but we're gonna give some of the spiritual background for it, because it's pretty interesting when you think about the spiritual background behind these things.
Right.
So we're gonna come back with a part 2 on that. Hopefully this was fun and good for everybody to digest.
Right.
I love it because I love to hear women's perspective on the thing that usually everybody but the women is talking about. Yeah. And the way things are going these days, with the back and forth on women and men, and this whole alpha males and high value men, high value women, all of that. I mean, there's reasons behind that, and next week we're gonna get into it. All right.
Okay.
So thank y'all.
Thank you so much.
Peace and love to you. What else do we need to tell them before we leave?
Oh, I don't have a quote today, so
yeah. We don't leave it suspended.
Well, yeah. Leave it like that is for right now, and yeah.
Okay. But subscribe. Make sure you put the bell notice and all that stuff on, so that because you don't want to miss the part 2 of this is really important.
Really so important. I'm just gonna go right quick. I just want to say which ones we already went over. So we went through 1 through 4. Thinking you are a project. Supporting the wrong decisions. Familiarity, which is becoming comfortable, and not taking care of yourself. And she said ourselves, so she included herself on that.
So she said ourselves. I will say that she did include herself on most of the stuff too. She did include herself.
Right. And she's coming from a place. I think it's easy. I think it's easily digestible when it's coming from a place of I'm really trying to help you. From a place of love, and you can tell it's from a place of love, and from what she feels that God is telling her to do, because these things were really good. I was like, oh, okay, I never thought about that in that way, So some of these things you may have already heard, but the way she said it. I would definitely tell you all to go and look up her YouTube channel. Do you remember her YouTube channel? I don't remember.
I don't remember it. Hold on, let me see.
If you type in it was called the seven mistakes women make in marriage.
Married women
something
make.
Like that.
Yeah, 7 mistakes married women make.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was
Pastor M. Mildred Kingsley Okonkwo.
Right.
Okonkwo.
Yeah.
Augustine, you could let us know, because she's also Nigerian. Okay. So if we messed that up, sorry.
It's not It's not from a place of bad.
Yeah, we have good hearts. We're trying.
Yes, but
Um,
she was really good. I think the title of it was like but it wasn't mentoring. What was it called? It started with the M.
Mentoring.
Something, was it mentoring sessions?
Yeah, mentoring session, something like that.
Mentoring sessions with Pastor M. So look for
Yeah,
that. Mentoring sessions with Pastor
with
M. And it's
Pastor M.
the seven mistakes women make in marriage. Something like that.
Yeah, and we're
Yeah,
gonna come back. So that was 4. There's 3 more, and then we're gonna hit you with the spiritual backing behind this men and women roles, and it's meaty good stuff. So please make sure you join us next time
right,
and get this goodness in you. All right.
right.
Peace. Love.
Bye.
Have a great weekend. Remember, this is the process, man, because that's the
The
way
way love
love
goes.
goes.
Bye.
Bye.